on the one hand, you see the BLM protests and you see videos of police running away from them. On the other hand, you see the anti-lockdown process and you see piles and piles of police jumping on people and beating them, regardless of their skin colour, or arresting them. And then, on the other hand, you've got the Met Police Chief saying racial profiling works while we're under an emergency law and people are losing their jobs. This is very dangerous, folks. And if you start going down this line, we're under an emergency law, under lockdown, and police are being told to enforce this stuff, and their boss, the Met Police Chief, is telling them, no, go and racially profile. Come on, have we not learned the lessons of everything that just happened throughout this year? Everything we've just been through, and now you're going to do the same again in the name of public health. You watch what happens when videos start emerging of more people being treated in this way by police. And again, to caveat, it's not their fault. They're doing a job and they've been told to enforce the rules. Their bosses are telling them to enforce these rules. But when those videos start emerging, and you know that people from ethnic minorities are twice as likely to be stopped on the streets, in the name of public health, do you really want police on video beating people because it's good for us? It keeps us healthy. Is that really a narrative you want to be spreading through our newspapers and media? And those three things combined make me very worried. The brutality we're seeing with the French police is already well established, but with stop and search being encouraged by the head of the Met, I wonder if that's the direction we're headed now, because some of the videos I saw from yesterday were quite violent. And these are protests. Now, the point is, again, please, everybody, don't break the law. I have a responsibility on this platform to make sure that I myself am not inciting anything untoward. Don't break the law. But the man, and we played one last time before I end here, the man who stood on his own with a placard, that the police harassment of him, that's indefensible. And it doesn't bode well for the direction of authoritarianism that we're headed if we don't have that transparency. We don't know why we're in lockdown. We don't know the criteria and the data that we use for it. We don't know if it works because we don't have that data. What we do know is that when they do it, ethnic minorities are twice as likely to be stopped, twice as likely to be fined, right? What we do know is people like this elderly gentleman being harassed on the street. There are things we do know about what happens when you're under an emergency law and police are told to enforce lockdowns, which is a euphemism for curfew. We know what does happen. We don't know why the decisions were made. This is the time to be extremely wary and careful and suspicious of power, because it's the most amount of power a government has ever had during our lifetimes. Think of any other time where you've had a national curfew imposed on the whim of a cabinet that doesn't have to declare why because of the emergency law. I find myself desperately trying to convey to you over this microphone of the sheer and dire circumstances we are in, because I've lived it. And there is no other way I can explain this to you apart from pleading with everybody to understand. Do not shut your mental faculties down. Do not stop questioning. Do not stop thinking for yourselves. Do not abandon all of the social justice principles that up until this day you are advocating because somebody's come and bamboozled you with statistics and dodgy bar charts that don't actually show what they're trying to show you, and in the name of public health, using that Trojan horse to take away all of your civil liberties. It is incredibly important that if a time to make a democratic legal, and I'll repeat that because I understand who I am, I understand my background and how some people will misinterpret what I am saying. If the time now is not the time to make a democratic and legal stand for transparency, when we are under a situation more severe than any other time we've been in our lives with a curfew called a lockdown, if now is not the time to demand the truth, when is?